Many Ugandans perish in fires deliberately lead to kill them, but there never seems to be a conclusive report on how or why the fire was lit. New Vision TV revisits some of these fires which started when Uganda was being forcefully created over 130 years ago until the one last Sunday that claimed a dozen young students who haven't even been buried yet. From 1885 to 1886, King Mwanga II ordered the rounding up of scores of young men who were tied up at Namugongo and were burnt to ashes. 22 of them are now celebrated as martyrs of the Catholic Church, whom millions of pilgrims come to honor every year on June 3rd. However, that is the church narrative. But to those who look at the political side, the burning of these men was the execution of a judicial sentence for culprits who were convicted of treason against the state and the king. As such, there's never been any consensus as to why the young men were burnt to death. And with the matter having taken a religious angle, it is not even considered politically correct to debate whether the burnt people were traitors who aided foreign forces bent on conquering the country. On March 17, 2000, after the rest of the world had stopped talking about the magical advent of the year 2000, since nothing extraordinary had happened when it arrived, some 1,000 people were burned inside a church in Kanungu. They belonged to a cult called the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments, led by self-styled Bishop Joseph Chibwetere, who was a former school teacher. Ms. Kerodenia Mwerinde, who used to pose as a correspondent of the Virgin Mary, Ms. Angelina Mugisha, the Reverend Father Joseph Kasapurari, and Reverend Father Dominic Kataribabo. The 5 killers are believed to have escaped, and what is surprising is that none of them has ever been arrested. 18 years later, no inquest report has been compiled, and authorities have no idea what the motive of the killing was. It was almost exactly 80 years after the Kanungu Inferno, in which 1,000 people were burnt alive by a religious cult that primary school children were incarcerated in a dormitory of Buddha Junior School near Kampala in April 2008. About 20 children died on the spot. Although the matron and a few watchmen were arrested and spent several weeks in detention before being released on bail, to date, it has never been established where the terrible massacre using fire was done. Last Sunday, at St. Bernard's School in Chifamba, Rakai district, 12 children were burnt to death and 10 were hospitalized with serious wounds after the dormitory was set on fire after the doors were locked by the killers from outside to prevent any escape. Although at first diversionary claims were made that some students who had been expelled earlier were behind the fire, it soon emerged that there were very serious battles over money among the powers in management and administration of the school, which was receiving a lot of money from its Australian donors. There were also threats to ban the school, which were reported to management, but nothing was done until the dozen children were cruelly murdered. Speculation so far has been over expelled students, underpaid workers, and greedy management members, but there is no clear picture yet as to who planned the murders. The only mass burning of Ugandans over which the motive seems to be clear is the mass burning of over 80 teenage students to death at Kichwamba Technical Institute in Kabarole, Western Uganda, on June 8, 1998. Rebels of the Allied Democratic Forces of Jamil Mukulu, ADF, attacked the school, sealed dormitories, and torched them. They also abducted dozens of boys for forceful recruitment into their terrorist organization with bases in eastern Congo. Besides these fires, dozens of markets have been burnt in Uganda, and speculation follows land grabbers and so-called investors are behind the arson. But rarely are conclusive reports issued.